the atmosphere will change. People will become angry and upset. There'll be fights. Just look around and observe what kind of relationship you're in. And we talk about verbal abuse right at the beginning of the relationship, before you even get into a permanent relationship. And that's why we titled this session, Do You Really Know Who You Are Dating? So it's important to see those red flags. Look out for those red flags if you're in a relationship and it hasn't gone far enough yet. You haven't moved in yet, you haven't gotten married yet, because all these things start showing up right at the beginning of the relationship, and even right up until into the engagement, when you're all feeling comfortable with one another. You begin to start seeing the signs. I know that, yes, in the beginning of the relationship, you know, people always like to put their best foot forward. They really do, most of the time. But for how long can anyone last, you know, putting their best foot forward? I can give you an example. You might think that, oh, my partner is being very loving, very kind. They're asking me where I am. I should take a picture and send them a picture of where I am, or I should take a picture and, you know, send him a picture of what I'm doing, or a video call, or who I'm with, or things like that. You know, those kind of red flags are important to take note of. And so the important thing is also to note how he's speaking to you. Note how he's speaking to other female colleagues, to female members of his family. Note how he's speaking to them. Note how she is speaking to the male members of her family, her male colleagues, her male friends. This is not just verbal abuse for females only, it's verbal abuse for everyone. So it's kind of important to make sure that you are taking note across the board. Verbal abuse happens even to children, and sometimes it can even be worse in the family setting, where the parent is grooming the child to be verbally abusive towards the other parent. So in other words, playing one against the other, and it becomes very traumatic and tormenting for the victim who's going through it. So we had a reading material that was really useful for you to read. So Janice, if you're able to type in the comment section while people are viewing, so that they'll be able to see what kind of reading material that you had already collected for people to have a look at, or to read, or even to listen to, that would be perfect. I know with this live we'll kind of find out how we're going to work it out and do another one next week. Hopefully she'll be able to join us then. But in the meantime, what is important is to stay safe. I know during this lockdown it has even made it worse for victims of domestic abuse, domestic violence. They're in lockdown with the perpetrators. They don't know how to find help or be set free. And we've been hearing through the news how people, you know, victims have passed away. In the first week of lockdown, there were about 27 victims that died during lockdown due to domestic violence, and sadly they lost their lives. So this is very important. That's why we're talking about verbal abuse, because that's right at the beginning of the relationship. Because once you're in the relationship, it becomes very difficult to come out of it. Once you're in an abusive relationship, it makes it really, really hard to come out of it. Makes it hard to let go, because, you know, the abuser or the perpetrator loves to exercise power and control. And so once he has a hold of you, it's difficult to come out of it. And as the victim, you may want to come out of it. You may want to work on how you can possibly come out of it. but you will obviously need help in coming out of it. You would need professional support, family support, to come out of such an abusive relationship. And that's why we're talking about the red flags today. Before you get into such a relationship, you might as well walk away right at the beginning of the relationship before it gets to a regrettable moment where one could easily lose their life. So at this point, I think we will wrap up. I think we've been talking for almost about 20 minutes. So my time is now saying 20 past 9. I guess we've been on it for a longer period than what we really wanted. But I want to say to you that in this period of lockdown, please, whatever you do, stay safe. Here in the UK, we've got numbers that you can ring. We've got the Women's Aid and Refuge, and their number is 0808 2000 24/7, 0808 2000 24/7. And if you're viewing from another country, you would have to find the crisis numbers. They are available in the public domain, which is the internet. You should be able to find that. And if you are in a situation where you are in an abusive relationship and you're not able to go on the internet, if you have a trusted friend or trusted family member or someone who you trust, ask them to help you by finding information or contact details. Ask them to help you with that. Let me see if Janice, you've managed. No, okay. So I think we'll wrap up at this point. If you have any questions, you can always inbox us. We'll be happy to help you and signpost you, because our motto here on the Magdalena Foundation is for every victim to become a survivor. So every victim, till every victim becomes a survivor, till every victim becomes a survivor. So that is our motto. We desire for everyone who's in an abusive relationship to become a survivor, to be set free. And if you're at the beginning of the relationship, watch out for the red flags. Walk away as quickly as possible if you see anything that's familiar based on what I have said today. So I think I've spoken enough. So this is just a little snippet of what's coming. Next week we'll be live again, and I think we'll be continuing the topic of what is verbal abuse. We'll be continuing because there's many avenues and many areas that we'll be exploring in relation to that. But in the meantime, I just want to say, take care, be safe. If you're in trouble and you think your life is in danger, please dial 999. Do not waste time at all. Ring the emergency crisis number for the police. Ring the emergency crisis number for the domestic violence and abuse centers that are in your area or in your country where you are. But in the meantime, my name is Pamela Dunduru. I am the founder and CEO of the Magdalena Foundation. I will speak a little bit more about my experience